Hi. So maybe I'll upload it unlisted and I'll attach it if you're curious. Since I did record it, I think I'll do that. I just recorded the shuffle. But anyway, this is going to be a love and relationships reading. It's going to be a relationship reading. It can be platonic, it can be familial, it can be love, whatever it is. Um, you know, this is going to be pile one, this is going to be pile two, this is going to be pile three. I'm wearing my nearly threes, my like 2.75 magnification readers, because I'm going to be reading the book. And, well, yeah, it actually helps. Well, look, up into the Knight of Wands. Well, the Queen of Wands is what I was looking at. You can see, like, in the dark blue, it gets a little difficult to read because it's like dark blue on a not too much lighter blue. I'll make do. I'll grab my little magnifying glass too because I really want to read the affirmation. So, this is my little, well, it's not mine, it's my mother's. And then, oh, wait. It pops out. Okay, anyway, back to this. 1, 2, 3. Timestamps are going to be in the description box. I'm actually going to grab my singing bowl because I'm feeling it. Might have to cleanse this thing a little bit. And you can, like, meditate on a card or close your eyes or skip this part entirely. I don't know. I was gonna say, they say blank is key, and happiness came into my mind. Maybe also patience, communication, understanding, things like that. Oh, there it is. Okay. I almost got it. It was like there and then it was gone and then it kind of came back. I accidentally like kept removing the mallet from the bowl, I guess, a little bit, and then that's what disrupts the noise. But we got some good strikes in there. All right, so let me grab my la telefono. How do you cellular phono? All right, so there was like absolutely no transition. I had just paused it because I was going to do the timestamp, but I was like, let me arrange this. So I have 3 of the Affirmators Tarot and 2 of the Affirmators Love and Relationship cards. I'll show you the boxes just in case you're interested. They actually have like quite a few different Affirmators decks, which I've seen like 3 of them on Amazon, but there's more than 3. There's a tarot. I've used these before, but I just got the Affirmators and I was like, oh, I'll use them. So we'll work our way this way. So the first card, oh, well, it's the Lovers. The Lovers in a love reading is gorgeous. Actually, I'm going to look at all 3. The 6 of Wands, okay. And the King of Pentacles. This is gorgeous. The Lovers, the 6 of Wands, and the King of Pentacles. So, in a relationship, this is one that is coming into a period of stability from both sides because the Lovers is here. Now, typically, I would use the Wild Unknown because there's a few associations I have with that deck. Because love was a part of the stuff that I was like interested in. I mean, I'm always interested in love. But I got a few like associations in that one, but I wanted to keep it on theme using the affirmators. Bunch of exposition that y'all don't need. This is both sides. I feel like this is something that it's like battle proven. And it's one of those things where it's like, even if I had the entire world, I would still choose you type of energy. someone who means the world to you, someone who really, it's like, it's almost like someone whose presence reminds you of how strong you are, how kind and caring and compassionate you can be, that it's like safe to love. And so it's not that this person necessarily gives you anything that you can't give yourself, but they're a reminder that you can be who you are in a world that can be a little cold and at odds sometimes. So let's read these. These is, oh, wow, this is what a way to start, right? So, you've drawn a card that makes you mouth the word lovers, have you? Well, friend, or soon to be lover, this is actually wonderful news. More than just a symbol of romantic love, this good omen is emblematic of a healthy, loving relationship with yourself as well as the outside world, which in turn breeds glowy, expansive feelings all around. And those, of course, could very well lead to a fulfilling, soulful love connection. But why don't we just start by taking the outside world out for a coffee? The affirmation here is I relate to others with an open heart and positive state of mind, with no expectations or requirements, but maybe a little or maybe even lots of hope. And then we're going into the Six of Wands, which is a card of victory. It's also a card of like, it's coming home from the battle, right? The Seven of Wands is like when we are a little bit more established in that. But the Six of Wands, it's a triumphant return home. And so there still may be like a time of decompression before any of this is necessarily sort of spoken. Something feels a little unspoken, but maybe there were things within ourselves that we had to do before we could come back to this. And again, it's like in this energy of them holding hands as they're going down the river, there's an energy here of like complementary paths, right? So even going back to just like friendship, it could be a relationship, it could be friendship. There's an energy here of complementary paths and of people who support you along the way, who are kind of sort of there. But with these two, again, it feels like there was something that you had to do within yourself to give yourself a sort of stability when it comes to dealing with the outside world. That's why I think the King of Pentacles is here. Now, it could be like you're about to meet somebody with some money, honey. Yes. Somebody who's like well off, who's fortunate, who can provide for you. Or it could be an energy of like someone who's grounded enough within themselves that they're not as affected by the outside world. And with this energy, maybe there were some differences that were present in the dynamic that made it difficult to kind of sort of see eye to eye. But there's also this energy of like coming to a realization and recognition once you experience more that it feels like there's a similarity in the way that you two view the world. It's just different because you have different experiences. And so like while you don't, it's like you don't see out of the same pair of eyes, but I feel like you would have similar approaches to things, if that makes any sense. And maybe it was something that caused a little bit of division in the past with this Six of Wands, but it's something that we have overcome. And look, the Four of Wands on the bottom, and that typical 11-11 configure with these two wands above. And for a lot of people, the Four of Wands has come to symbolize a lot of difficulty in relationships because of everything that's associated with some soul mate divine counterpart twin flame journeys. It's like, oh, it's difficult, it's this, it's that. But I mean, that relationship is like any other. If you don't handle and deal with the things within yourself, then of course it's going to be difficult. And you got to have a twin flame for that to be difficult. But anyway, there's an energy of overcoming here. And with the Two of Wands, it's about actually stepping into something new and being able to face any challenge, because again, you're grounded enough within yourself that the outside world doesn't have as much sway and pull over you. And it's not that you're going to be completely unaffected, but this is going to be someone that you can sort of go the distance with, that you can travel through life with, regardless of the twists and turns, because of what you've individually overcome. Six of Wands. You've just scored the coolest ever world's best mug, and it's here to honor you and your many splendored victories. Feel weird about it? Knock it off. You deserve to be proud of whatever. You deserve to be proud of whatever it is this mug is applauding. So enjoy the recognition from yourself and others, and use it to keep on moonwalking like a champ to more triumph ahead. This slow clap is just getting started. I am openly, unabashedly, shout it with the windows all the way down, proud of myself, and I'm going to keep on being the fabulous me that got me here, is the affirmation there. And last but never least is the King of Pentacles, who's on like literally the last page. Pull up a throne, don a velvet cape, and join the KOP in his favorite pastime, eyeballing your accomplishments. I love all the focus on accomplishments. This master of the material realm represents the ultimate job well done. You have lots to be proud of, so don't be shy about showing yourself some love. And it appears you have lots to look forward to, especially in the realm of manifesting awesome stuff. Keep setting your sights on what you want, and there's a good chance you'll get it. Not a bad skill to have on your resume. Also, crowns never hurt an image. Watch me as I make stuff happen that's even more impressive than the stuff that's already happened, is the affirmation here. This bringing us into the first card, which is yellow. Initiative. Okay. This is a little difficult for me to read. If I can get some light. There we go. Step right up. You've been awarded a boost of initiative. This potent potion will give you the gusto you need to move your life in a previously unexplored direction. If you're in a relationship, then it's time to take initiative and make some interesting plans for you and your partner. If you're not in one, it's time to reach out to old friends, go on adventures, and potentially meet some new cohorts. Either way, this great journey is beginning with one small step, or one short text, or whatever. I'm not the boss of you. Initiative, and there it is. It's a really interesting yellow color. I feel like this is a color. It's like a yellowy green. It's yellow with some like green undertones, so it carries like a solar plexus moving into the heart energy, which I felt for Scorpio. So there may be some scorpionic energy. Taurus, Leo, Gemini. Well, that can be anybody. Taurus, Leo, Gemini. If you're curious, I guess. But I remember, because for Scorpio, it was like this solar plexus that went into the heart, and then it was going from heart to throat, but it couldn't make it out of the throat. And I think this card is telling you to have the initiative to do that. Like, you've already done all of this. Why not claim what you have the possibility and the potential to claim? And I was like, I don't know how I feel about the word claim, because I don't think people are things to be claimed. But if you do something to win over someone and to win over yourself, then like that's something that's there for you. Initiative, it also reminds me of D&D, right? And at the beginning of a battle, the DM goes roll for initiative, and then if you have a modifier, you add your modifier. And the turn order is determined by initiative. So right now you have the initiative. You make the first move. And the first move sets this scene, sets the stage for the entire performance. And it's like things can go up or downhill from there, but it sets that initial tone. This feels like someone coming back from like a long journey. Next is grace. I face disagreements with grace and flow through the ups and downs of my relationships without getting thrown off center. With grace, I'm able to keep my cool, be my best self, and not resort to name calling, even when that crappy poo poo face is being a douchey barf monster. I'm sorry. That's so funny. I love these cards. I love these decks. So, initiative and grace, that sounds like an apology all day long. But it's like it is an apology. But there's also, again, there's still this recognition of the things that you still had yet to learn. And it's because you've learned all these things, because you've gone through this, that now you have the ability to be your rooted, grounded self, regardless of the situations that happen that's mentioned in this grace card. It just requires the initiative. Someone has to reach out first. And then, you lock hands and you go through whatever life takes you through. So this is gorgeous. And it's not without work being done. Like the Six of Pentacles, the Six of Wands came out right in the middle. And again, I think that's an energy of like victories won, battles hard fought. Like you don't get the crown and you don't get to. It's like it said he's like reflecting on all of his accomplishments. You don't get that. Oh, I got a sneeze that just like came into my ew. Now my eyes are gonna start watering because of the sneeze. That's what I get for sleeping with the window open and the fan on last night. But there's some like gorgeous snow outside. Anyway, that energy is here. Like this isn't primarily focused on like all of the difficult things that you had to go through to get to this point, but these two cards like they bring it up. Like the recognition is here. Now there's like so much more to claim. But this is what I got for the first pile. I hope you have a good whatever whenever you see this. I hope you're acting in alignment to make that which you wish to experience your reality because it's possible. If this is yours, you've already done the work. The hardest part is already over, and it reminds me of like courage. I was talking to one of my friends, or she was talking to me about courage and how she made this crazy, bold, courageous decision. And then, but like the real courage came after after she made that choice, because that's when the reality of the situation begins to set in. And that courage is needed throughout that settling process. But like this is an energy of like someone who is on your side, someone who's been through the not great with you, probably someone who's seen you when you weren't your best. Because again, the Six of Wands is here, meaning that there was something that you've had to overcome to become this King of Pentacles. And maybe this was someone who supported you through that, but it's like you had distance needed to be put between you and this person to get here. Because the Six of Wands, did I say Pentacles again? The Six of Wands is walking away from the King of Pentacles towards the Lovers. But the King of Pentacles is looking in the same direction. And so I feel like there was an understanding here of like the things that you still had to do, or and even the things that they still had to do. to come back into this. And this grace is going to be important. And initiative, the grace in this initiative is going to be important. So that's what I got. Wow. That was, again, it's not without its previous challenge, but what a way to start these off. Oh, wow. I never choose when I do these, I just do them. Okay, I'm going to get pile 2 set up, but this is what I got for you. Have a good one. Bye bye. All right, pile 2. Let's get back into it for you. So I'm gonna lay these out with you instead of having them already laid out. I did not know pile 2 had 3 cards over here. I kind of felt that it was a little thick. So pile 2, you already got more than what I thought you would have. Okay, well, I've done run out of table. Here we go. This is how we're gonna do this. Your first card is the 3 of Wands, which is interesting. I feel like there's a little bit of an energy of not quite appreciating what you have here. Because the giraffe is faced one way, or its body is turned one way, but it's facing the past, which is actually the future. So it's like it's headed towards the past, facing the future. Maybe there's a little bit of. And this giraffe is bleeding for some reason, or maybe it's looking like blood today. But it's not. It's part of its hair. Maybe some of this is a little bit self-inflicted. Looking towards the future, like he has the 3 wands in his tail, but he's still looking over the rainbow. That's why I was like, there's a little bit of a feeling of not appreciating what it is that you have. Maybe there's a little bit of a lack of self-appreciation here. But we'll see. The next card is the 7 of Swords. So, yeah. I think it's a little bit of a lack of self-appreciation, self-love, maybe. Because again, it's like it's headed in the direction of the past, but it's looking towards the future. So maybe there's something like you know that you deserve better, or you believe that you deserve better, but better isn't around, so you just continue to stay in the situation that you're in. And the last card is the devil. Okay, well, I was hoping that it would be better. And then I'm like, oh, or not that. But it just got progressively. This is someone who could be stuck in a toxic situation or stuck in a toxic cycle. Maybe also someone who's like just surrounded by people who just aren't the most encouraging or supportive. And maybe there's also an energy of like when you try to do better for yourself, then you get met with some kind of opposition, like, oh, you think you're better than us, or like blah blah blah, or somebody who like reminds you of who you used to be when you start transforming into someone new. But with this 3 of Wands, like I feel like you could do better. It just may be difficult in your current situation and circumstance, but I don't think it's necessarily for you to conform to that. I think it's for you to elevate yourself out of it. Now, if you can't because of financial reasons or something like that, then continue to manifest, continue to work towards, maybe try to elevate. I'm going to have to wipe my nose because it's starting to run now. Ooh, when the tissue just came crumbling down. There's also some like blue and some purple flowers here. So maybe your connection, your intuitive, spiritual abilities are increasing. You're starting to see that it's almost like when you escape from your own sort of darkness and when you wake up from your own nightmare, then you can see how other people are sort of stuck in theirs. And maybe you feel some sort of responsibility for helping the people there, but you can't help anyone who doesn't want to be helped, first and foremost. But let's get into this Three of Wands. And it's interesting. Well, no, it's not. Okay, well. Page of Wands is in the middle. Page of Wands, Knight of Wands, the Court of Wands. And so a few pages off, it's like right in the middle. So it's like you're almost reaching a turning point or a breaking point. I would say it'd be better to do your best to leave a situation better than like when you've fully reached your breaking point and then things get nasty. Now, if you try to leave, things may get nasty anyway, but you don't have to necessarily meet that energy, or you're better capable of not when you haven't been pushed all the way there. You're better able to not go all the way there when you're not all the way there, right? You are the architect of your life, and you construct planet you in a lot of ways you might not have thought possible. Embrace change, keep your heart open, and get inspired by the sorts of visionary plans muggles might consider pipe dreams, pies in the sky, or simply insane because everyone is supposed to just work boring jobs in the monotonous lifelong pursuit of paying down debt. So, maybe not an encouraging environment. If you could wave a wand, or three of them, and create the ultimate adventure for yourself, what would it be? This mojo generator is giving you permission to make it real. Overseas travel often indicated, no terms or conditions apply, redeemable at any time, valid with every other offer. So, redeemable at any time, again, it sort of brings a feeling of like maybe you can't now do what it is that you plan on doing, but it doesn't mean that you can't prepare for it. I claim my right to live an ideal, dreamy, straight from the Pinterest board life, and I do it with ease and class to boot. Claim it. Amen. Hallelujah. If you don't claim it, who gonna claim it for you? These swords are a sharp and pointed warning about deception, betrayal, and sneakiness of any other flavor. Seven of Swords. Be sure to read the fine print on any snake oil you might be tempted to buy, and seriously vet any others you might want to promote to significant. Okay? If you yourself are tempted to go behind backs to get away with something, here's a tip off. You're not going to get away with it. Consider the cookie jar booby trapped and choose to do things the longer, harder, much more honest, and ultimately fulfilling way. Align with integrity and face all your issues head on. Your strength of character will earn you a karmic cookie. I am unconditionally honest and expect the same from others. But keep your unsolicited advice to yourself, please. That's the affirmation. Then with the devil card here, maybe as you come into some self-healing and as you worked on yourself, like I said, it's like when you do it within you, you can realize or recognize when other people are projecting. And this is like you recognizing when other people are actually projecting, not you being in a place of you not seeing how you affect other people. So when they get upset by something that you've done to upset them, then you claim that they're projecting. Right? Like, oh, you're just projecting whatever on me. When you've actually done something, like this isn't a lack of you not taking accountability and responsibility for your actions. There's a difference. But maybe you're beginning to see how, like, it is kind of manipulative, but it's like maybe like that thing I said, like, be careful that you're not doing. Maybe you're starting to notice that other people are doing it to you, right? Like when they upset you and you tell them about it, somehow they turn that back on you. And so it gets you in a space and place like where you begin to question your own emotions and things like that. But then you start to realize and recognize where like that isn't you. And you know that that's not you because you are facing all those things that are you, because you're facing your own shadows and because you're taking accountability. You can tell the difference. The Devil. Thunderclap, lightning bolt. This card has made a dramatic entrance to snap you out of a trance that seems to have a grip on you. Addiction, lust, greed, and obsession are all possible players here. So what's the winning move? Take stock, and if you have time, a good look in the mirror. Whatever's up, it's important to know you have the power to break free of any unhealthy habit or bad relationship. So crack that whip and send the negativity running. Life's too short to be a slave to a guy with goat horns. Or whatever accessory is readily available in your particular devil dungeon. That was the asterisk on whip. Whips and slavery on this, the first day of Black History Month. But maybe again, it speaks to cycles of like oppression that begin to affect you internally, mentally, emotionally, and that affect your view of what it is that you can do, what it is that you can't do, what you're capable of doing. And in reality, it's like what was done to you was done to you with the intention of making you feel this way, of getting you to play small, of thinking that you need someone else or that someone else is better than you through the condition of their birth or how they came into your life, because they're older than you, because they're younger than you, because they're a male, whatever, when that's not the case. And again, it's realizing that a lot of that stuff was done intentionally to keep you in that space. Now, sometimes we can intentionally do bad things but not be fully aware. And that's not to give anyone any excuse, but it's like if they can't even be aware of it, and if they refuse to acknowledge their own sort of role, then you can't get them to see it. And it's not for you to stay until you convince them of whatever. I just say, girl, it's time to go. Now, your 3 relationship cards, let's see if these integrity, depth, and surrender are your 3 cards. Integrity. I align with the center of myself, a glowing core of personal integrity. Emanating from this core is the knowledge that I never have to compromise who I am or what I want for anybody. I can live a life that doesn't include settling unless I want to settle, in which case settling would be my idea of perfection and would cease to be considered settling. Ugh, paradoxes hurt. And it's this yak up here. What this say? Home is where the heart is. And if the heart if ain't no heart in this, it's not home. Sometimes it can become like a place of comfort. It can become a place of, it's not comfort. What's the word? Of something that like you're accustomed to. It can become something that you're accustomed to. And with that familiarity often breeds feelings of comfort because we know what to expect. But if the heart isn't there, it isn't home. And you can always go and find and build a new one. I feel like this is saying, like, don't sell yourself short. You don't have to settle for anyone. And if it's something that you want to do, it would be something that you want to do. Like, that's not settling if it's something that you actually want to do. But this is something that you actually want to do, not something that you've been conditioned to want or to believe. Depth. As new people show up in my life, I look for all the weird, wonderful, complex layers below their surface. I can't be surprised by someone's depth of character unless I'm willing to peel back the outer layers and go a little deeper. It's like the brand new saying goes, don't judge an onion by its haircut. And here's an onion with a haircut. Is that like a Jerry curl back in the day? No, maybe not. Maybe not. I feel like, honestly, this is you exploring your own depth. Again, outside of everything that your environment and situation has taught you. And sometimes it's difficult to experience who you can be when you're surrounded by people who don't support that or who don't give you the opportunity to be that. But for like the internet has been a thing for a minute now. And you can find communities, you can find virtual communities that sort of, and you can even create communities in a lot of places now instead of being fixed and stuck there until, and like you can use those communities, build off of that until you are able to go and engage physically. And I think a lot of people discount virtual engagement and interaction. But if you've ever found a community online who has an interest in something that people around you don't necessarily like, you would be positioned to know the impact and power of a virtual community. Because just like that whole slavery thing, it liberates us from the conditions of our birth. It liberates us from the conditions of our immediate environment. And we can find a place and space where we can discover how valid we are and how appreciated we can be. And that can give us strength and motivation to see that, like, while these energies may tell us that there's nothing for us outside of them, it's a way for us to experience that it's not true. And it gives us ammunition to fight back. And it's not fighting back in a literal sense. It's just like, it's the knowledge and awareness that, like, just because you don't appreciate me doesn't mean that there aren't people out there who do. And again, because of what I've done and because of what I've experienced outside of you and outside of my immediate environment, I know that this isn't all there is. I can see beyond this now. And I'm just here until I can leave, honestly, at this point. The last card is surrender. Hear ye, hear ye. You are hereby being called to unclench your grip on any old thought patterns that are getting in your way. Surrender any ideas that make you feel like a victim of circumstance, or which make your dream relationship, seem like an impossibility. The mayor of reinvention has just arrived and has made the following decree. Excuse me. Where's all this coming from? I feel like there's like I think it was this one where like there was a point I need to sneeze and then my nose started running, like my throat is starting to clear. I feel like there was like heavy detoxing and releasing energy coming up. Also, maybe don't sleep with your windows open and your fan on in the middle of winter when it's snowing, because maybe you'll wake up with a sneeze and a little bit of a cough. And it's like, if you know that that's going to be the outcome, maybe don't make that choice, even if you have to get out of bed when you're already comfortable. Yeah. The mayor of reinvention has just arrived and has made the following decree. Limiting beliefs about yourself and your life are heretofore, forthwith, officially, and indubitably declared for the birds. It's over. We're not doing this anymore. You know better now. You're capable of more. And if you can't believe that because of what you see with your 3D eyes, then maybe search online for a community. Like, there are people who are into all kinds of stuff all over the place. And now with like people and with YouTube being what it is, and even Instagram and like Facebook, you can engage and interact with people live. And like, it just goes to show that like where you're born, where you start, doesn't have to be where you finish. But it can be if that's what you decide. And it's not for anything or anyone else to decide for you. You have the power and the ability to decide for yourself. So, it feels like this is a not great situation. So I wish and pray for you all the strength, and that you come upon someone or something that reminds you that your dreams are bigger than whatever this is. And maybe you've recently come out of this. Maybe you did make the choice, or you are currently in the process of making the choice. And you are needing to be reminded of who you were before this. And I would almost be tempted to say that it's not even about who you were before this happened. It's about who you can be now. And who you can be despite this happening. And also, in some sick, weird, twisted way, who you can be because this happened. Because this happened, if you so choose, now you can be an advocate for others. Or now, because you know how sucky this is, you can encourage others, or you can be the example for others that it's possible to get out of that and to pick yourself up and to be more than you would have ever even dreamed to be, to impact more than you would have even thought you had the power or the ability to. Things like that give so much power to your voice. Things like that have the opportunity to give you, to make your voice even more powerful. And while it would be great if there were a way that you could get strong, or where you could know how strong you are without being like run through the trash and the garbage disposal and everything else. Like if you are even like, if you've made it out, or if you're even thinking of making it out, if you're even like, if you're in the thick of it, but seeing how much better you are than the situation, that's already an act of like unbelievable bravery and courage, and just like it blows my mind to be surrounded by that and in the thick of it, and even then see more or dream of more. Like I can't even comprehend the amount of like strength that would have to take. And it's not even strength, it's just like the power of vision. And it may not be immediate, it doesn't have to be these huge things, but a little bit goes a long way. And if you have to be creative to escape a certain situation, then don't be afraid to be creative. But I think one of the things that would really serve is, again, finding and maybe even creating those spaces where you can be celebrated and acknowledged in all the ways that your immediate environment is telling you that you won't be, because it's a lie. There's community out there for like literally everybody. Even toxic people have their communities of toxic people, and they just sit around and talk about how bad they are to other people. And it's like, so why don't you get to find people that you enjoy? Why don't you get to enjoy your life? You know? You do, if you choose to. And again, it's not an easy choice to make all the time. But when you really begin to understand that you're worth it, then you know that you're worth it. And it's something that you do for you. And like that's, let alone if you have people who depend on you, then that becomes a whole other story. But that's what I got. I hope you have a good whatever, whenever. I hope it gets better sooner rather than later. I hope you are acting in alignment to make that which you wish to experience your reality. If you want to experience something different, you got to do something or let somebody know if you can, like on the down low. But if you don't do anything, then nothing's going to change. And with the Three of Wands, it's like you have the ability to make that dream a reality. But it's like you got to do something to get there. At least like make a call. It's like no matter how big, no matter how small, those things build up and then eventually they become that way out. So that's what I have. That was a little heavy, but that doesn't mean that you can't find a way out. And, I know it's not necessarily fair that one person has to struggle just to be there to assist other people who come later. But if you have the strength to do it, or even if someone's had the strength to help you through a situation like that, then maybe let them know. I think sometimes we don't show the people who we love and appreciate, or I think sometimes we don't tell the people who positively affect us how much their impact means to us. And that's something that for the past few years, because I saw it was like a TED Talk or a video or something, a lollipop moment. Because I saw that, I try to let the people who I appreciate know that I appreciate them more. Because, before that, it was like something that you didn't really think about. Or for me, it would be like, man, I want to say something, but that would be weird or something. Or like, I don't want to acknowledge this because of blah, 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 whatever weird stuff I was holding on to. So, I don't know. I say it, and sometimes I say it a lot, and some people may whatever, but hey, it's just important to me that I say it. So, that's what I got. I hope things improve for you soon, if that resonated for you, because no one should have to go through something like that. Hey, Pal 3. This is yours. This, I already put the timestamp in. We're going to do a little bit of this coming off a 2. If you're a 2 and you're still watching, this is for you. But it happened after your timestamp. So. Again, I feel like it echoes back to that the way may not exist within your frame of it may not be within your immediate environment or within your current frame of understanding, but it exists. We just have to find it and then sometimes create it. Again, it's like, we place the order for the ticket, for the bus, for the plane, for the boat, for the vessel that carries us to somewhere new. It may just be a little bit outside of your reach. It may be outside of, a little bit outside of your reach, so that you have to get up and get it. Like I was talking about, I probably should have closed the window and turned off the fan, but because I was comfortable in bed, I didn't do it. And it's like, well, if I would have got up and done it, then I would have less sniffles today. My nose would be less congested. But this is minor. I can deal with this. You shouldn't have to deal with anything that puts your safety or wellness or health mentally or physically, emotionally or spiritually in jeopardy. So there you go. Oof, that made my third eye tingle a little bit. Then I got a little queasy. All right, pile 3. Last but never least, the 3s. Threes. Sucker. I don't know. Ooh, okay, so there's a little bit of a fun energy here. Okay, all right, switching things up a little bit, or a lot of bit, but it's fine. To be seen and acknowledged is a blessing. Oh, okay. So y'all's coming right out with the Nine of Cups. Now there is a genie on this Nine of Cups. So genies always speak of that be careful what you wish for energy. And it's not, it's a need to, it's not being specific necessarily. It's, I can't describe what it is. It's like in my brain, but I can't find the words. Mercury retrograde. And now I just have something to blame. I'm like this. I'm not gonna blame Mercury. I'll take accountability and responsibility for the fact that I'm like this when Mercury ain't retrograde. But my Mercury natally is retrograde, so I feel like at the same time I can always blame Mercury retrograde because that's when I was born. In Pisces, in the 12th house. So not great placements for Mercury anywhere, but it does give Mercury an expansive mind. It's not great for interacting with like the tactile and the 3D and the physical, but it's great for having a little bit of a foot into the other side or being able to think more abstractly. And when you abstract things, you can see similarities and commonalities that other people may not necessarily see because they don't wear the exact same face. And maybe that's an energy here of being able to see and recognize what you've wished for, even if it's not coming in the exact way that you thought it would. So there is a little bit of a DIY. It's not DIY, there's a little bit of an assembly energy here. Of like, this is the answer to my wish? Like, what? Well, how do I use this to get that? Right? It's like if you're manifesting $1 million and then a job application arrives on your doorstep. Oh, that's funny. But it's like, hey, you asked for $1 million. Well, if you work this job, you'll get it. But the job it's a blessing because not only does it get you to get it for yourself, it also puts you in a certain arena that can be connections, that can be anything. So many things could come from that, more than what you initially asked for. The next card is the Ace of Swords. I'm loving this because I'm a little nervous. I get a little nervous when I talk so much because of one card and there is like 5 more. The Ace of Swords is coming into an awareness or an understanding. It's that higher sight. Here's the blue here. It's being able to see those things. And because you can see them, it's like you don't have to be as wary of the genie. So the genie, it's like when you energetically have loose ends on things, when your desires are a bit impure. And so it puts a little bit of a tinge on what it is that you get. So like let's say that you are like manifesting $1 million. But you're not manifesting $1 million because you want to better your life or the lives of others or anything like that. Like you want to manifest $1 million because somebody else got $900,000 and you want to be better than them. And so that's why you're manifesting $1 million. But let's say that for some reason you don't consciously, like you're not, like you're trying to manifest it in a way that puts that separates that energy from what it is that you're manifesting. But at the core of your manifestation, that's pretty close and it plays a role. And so then it's like genie energy uses that as a gateway to bring you that million through tragedy. Like, oh, like, oh gosh, I'm not gonna go there. It brings it through tragedy, like the monkey's paw. And it's like, oh, this is what you asked for, but you carried something dark. And maybe you thought you framed it in a way that it would separate that darkness from this, but it didn't. But with this Ace of Swords, not only is it cutting anything like that out, I think it's also beginning to see and recognize back to the original metaphor. Maybe that was for somebody. If it's for you, take it. If it's not for you, why are you taking it? It's not yours. Hello. um, but it's like seeing through the weeds, seeing through all that, like, oh, like that is my thing. It was in the bush. A ram in the bush. It's the ram in the bush. Oh my gosh. You're seeing that the ram is in the bush. And it's like, why did spirit just lead me to this bush? How is this supposed to get me wherever? It's like, girl, if you look at the bush, you would see the ram that's literally right there. Maybe there's a little bit of an Aries energy here as well, where it's going to require a little bit of initiative too. And the initiative leads you again to something beyond what it is that you're wishing for. You may lament the fact that you have to work for this million instead of just winning the lottery. But that initiative will lead you to more because maybe you'll find something that you actually enjoy. So now not only do you get $1 million, you also get a new passion. Right? Isn't that cool? And last but not least from the tarot, it's the Eight of Swords. So I guess this is that either or energy. But oh my gosh, look, it's the ram. It's the ram with less bush because you started to cut the bushes. It's also going to liberate you from things that have been limiting you for a long time. What you were wishing for couldn't come into this space because you couldn't have received it. So it also came with this Ace of Swords. The Ace of Swords gets you to face these limiting beliefs. And your success in this endeavor is going to be probably determined by your ability to face and handle these things that keep you stuck, that keep you from receiving them in the first place. And I know what one of these cards is. And originally I was just going to pick that one card, but I pulled the top and the bottom of the deck after a few shuffles for each one. And the card at the top confirmed that I would go ahead and pull the top and the bottom. So I don't know what the bottom card says. But this ace and the 8, it's a 9 of swords energy that's not despairing. It's a 9 of swords energy that's actually rejoicing because now they know. Now they can see why it is that they felt like none of their prayers were answered. Now they can see how they're being answered. And now they know what's required of them. It's almost like, oh my gosh, like, thank you. Now I know what to work for. Now I'm not just stumbling around blind in the dark because I can't see why it is that I can't get out of the situation. Like, now I know. It's like, oh, I got to do something, which, originally I didn't really want to do anything. I just wanted to be free, but at least now I know how to get there. And it's actually more empowering because of that. But also, it's all about your perspective. So could you be despairing and like, oh my gosh, yeah, sure. Or you could not. You can be grateful for the fact that now you know what it is that keeps you in this place that you don't like to be in. Are you going to have the strength and courage to do something about it? That's on you. So the 3 cards we have are resilience, love that resilience, acceptance, and wait and see. I didn't actually read wait and see, all I saw was wait and see. So, resilience. Sticks and stones may break my bones, and unkind words can somehow drain every bit of joy and color from my once rosy life. But nothing can ever permanently damage the real me. I love myself, I cherish myself, and I vow to remember that I'm always camped out in the depths of myself, even when I don't feel like very much of myself. Okay. I love that there's a little log in this tent for this beaver. There's like a midnight munchies type of oh gosh. Oh, this is breakfast. Ah. Oh, this is breakfast. Oh, this is breakfast energy. Oh gosh, I never thought that that would have happened. There's an energy here of someone who sees you in a way that you don't see yourself. And so maybe for that person, you can be a little bit of a wish fulfillment. And maybe this person can also lead you or guide you to wish fulfillment, right? Um, but it's going to require a little bit of work on your part to see it. There's an energy here that echoes the first pile, but this is still while you're conquering that. So after you conquer this, then you'll begin to see all of the ways in which you are blessed. Next is acceptance. When I get to know new people, I accept their actual traits rather than the ones I projected on them. Same goes for not new people I already know. Acceptance is the delicate art that reminds us everyone is their own unique self, and we can't expect them to ever be anything but. Man, how do those snowflakes do it? I love that here is a recognition of yourself, and even when you're in situations that aren't great, you're always within the realm of yourself. And so you can take this as, again, with that Nine of Cups, here there's a lot of perspective and there's a lot of uncovering your actual or hidden intentions. But it's more so the feelings that you hold in response to your environment around you. But anyway, there's a need to see it here. And again, the Ace of Swords is giving you the clarity to do that. And that Nine of Swords, you get to choose your perspective. You get to choose if the Ten of Swords is going to be like, oh my gosh, this is the worst thing ever, if it's going to take you out, or if that Ten of Swords is going to be liberation from a previous cycle. Like Mercury is retrograde right now. And so we may have opportunities to revisit decisions that we've made in the past regarding whichever house Mercury is in for you. For me, Mercury is retrograding in my 11th house, which it started with like a dream of one of my friends from college, earlier in college, talking to me about a dude that I never had any interest in, so I never like talked to him or got to know him. And like talking to me about like how great he is and how much he's overcome. And I was like, wow, I didn't know that he was like that strong, or I didn't know that he was going through all that. Like, I don't really care about this dude, but like, wow. And then at the end of the dream, that I was like, oh well, like he was in my freshman orientation group, so he's one of the first people I met when I went to college. And he lived in my building. We worked together. He was my supervisor for a little bit, and then my RA. But like I didn't really have any interest in him, so I never really got to know him. And the things that I saw, I was like, I don't want to get to know that. Was that fair? Probably not. But I had, and then like a few nights later, I actually saw his face in a dream. I'm like, why am I dreaming about this dude? And then a few nights after that, I have another dream about someone who started as an associate or a coworker, um, and we became friends. But like the thing we bonded over was not great, and so our friendship ended on in a not great way. Like that was a trauma bond. Like we literally bonded over how depressed we were, and like that was our whole thing. And when I started like doing things to not be so depressed all the time, our relationship kind of sort of fell apart because that's what our relationship was, and I was not entering a commitment with my depression. Like, no, thanks. I'm good. Bye. Like, I appreciate you for the strength and the resilience that you taught me that I have, but I'm good. I have learned. You can go now. But anyway, it's been these dreams for me regarding like associates, people that I worked with, people who were in my environment but weren't like close friends or family like a fifth house energy would be. And at first I was confused. It wasn't until I saw like Rob's tarot. It was like the first 4 minutes of his Mercury retrograde reading. I was already kind of sort of piecing it together before that. Because I was like, oh, like I think these dreams are like asking me, and I talked about it on here, like who I want to be. And it's like it's true that in the past, like I saw one aspect of someone's personality, or like I didn't, like I felt out of place and awkward and weird, and so the one person who was like talking a lot, like I was like, ooh, who is that? And that ooh, who is that energy carried literally through the 5 to 6 years that we were in each other's vicinity. But I never really got to know the person outside of that. Like I don't even know if like maybe when he was in middle school or elementary school, he was like super bullied. And so he didn't really have anybody to talk to, or he was like super reserved. But now that he's come here, he has the opportunity to be who he is. And that's why he's so excited. Right. Like that's something. And I think I do that. Because there was another person, I'm surprised he didn't pop up in a dream, but he was in one of my Japanese classes, and he was like always trying to talk to me and stuff, and I was just like not there for it. And then we gave personal narratives in that class, and his was about how he was like bullied and like beat up growing up, and then I felt like absolute trash. I was like, wow, this dude's then been through all of this, and there's literally nothing wrong with him. At that point, again, it was all of the stuff that I was carrying. It's like, I'm just in here because I gotta be. I'm not trying to make friends. I'm just here in class, and then I'm going back to my room and I'm gonna shut myself away again. And at this point, it was really like all of that stuff was really starting to flare up in me. AKA, this is the reason why I never entered a relationship, because I knew that all of the toxic garbage would just spew out onto anybody and everyone who tried to get close to me. Well, not anyone and everyone, because there were quite a few people that I did get close to, but there were quite a few people who I didn't give the chance to actually get to know because of everything that was going on within me that I wasn't addressing. And that's what's like, it's being brought up to me in the space of dreams and other things. And like when I was a kid, I was the first person to talk to people who, like, if we got a new student or whatever, I was the first person to talk to them because I didn't want anyone to feel like left out or alone or like they didn't have any friends. And what would happen more often than not is like I would be the first person that made them feel welcome or whatever. And then they would kind of sort of find their place. And then other people would like start talking to them, and then they like fit into that, like their own little niche or whatever. But that stopped pretty much in elementary school, because by seventh grade I had already decided that I'm not going to get to know anybody, and I'm going to be as dependent as I can be. And even when it comes to family, like if I got to cut them out, then I will, because I don't want to feel like I need anyone in my life. And so I effed myself up to do that. And now that I've faced all of the things that led me to that choice in the first place, I don't have to be that anymore. I don't have to interact with people like that. I actually get to go back to being my happy, like people self, and not like getting even more depressed when I meet people because man, that's someone who's really cool, but like I'm dedicated to my depression, so I'm not gonna get to know them, and then it makes me feel even worse. And then it's like, oh wow, this person like actually went through things in life, like a lot of people do. And I feel like trash because here I am acting super cold and whatever, and this is actually a cool dude or a cool girl. And so, what it's doing more so now, it's putting me in a place to recognize and realize that I don't have to make those choices anymore because I've healed the things that like led me to them, because I've handled and I faced and I've addressed it. And it makes me excited for my Saturn return, honestly, because like if this is my experience of Mercury retrograding Aquarius right now, I feel like I'm going to be good because I'm not the same person. I'm not out here reacting out of trauma. And I feel like that energy is here. And it's either you've healed from it and these experiences are there to show you that or remind you of that, or it's there to ask you who you want to be now that you're not as, hopefully, well, if that part resonates for you, like who do you want to be now that those traumas don't have as much hold over you as they did in the past? Or it could be a question of, okay, well, what do you still have left to face, or what do you still have left to address, or are you as healed as you think you are if this is something that like you're still doing? But it's like we're, for me personally, I'm like, I have, that's come to the forefront of my mind again because I can make that connection to Mercury retrograding in my 11th house. It may be in a different house for you. You may be reflecting on choices and decisions that you made in another area of your life. And with it being a fixed air energy, it's probably something that became a habit and a pattern for you. It was a pattern for me for a long time. And Mercury retrograde, I guess, is just reminding me that I broke that. And it's also, making me more consciously aware of how I want to navigate in the future now that I'm not dealing with that anymore. For you, it could be whatever it is for you. Last but not least, the card that came out, and I was like, oh, I don't need nothing else. But then acceptance came out, and I read the first line, and it talked about seeing people as they are, not how you're projecting them to be. I was like, okay, so I'll do the top and bottom. Wait and see. Thoughts love to wander into assumptions and race ahead to the future. But what if you told them to cool their jets and chill a sec? Today, you get to put your mental chatter on pause. Take a breath and simply wait and see how things play out before you let your mind run a marathon of imagined scenarios. Wait, wait, and you'll see that waiting and seeing was a lot more productive than wondering and worrying. Insert audible sigh of relief here. And again, with this energy here, you're in a position now to see 9 swords, 9 cups. Cups and swords are related. A lot of times we have to overcome the swords to experience the cups. Like to get a 10 of cups moment probably requires you to go through some 10 of swords in your own life. Because before you can be in a happy, healthy relationship, there are things that you have to handle and address within yourself. And the 4 of cups and the 4 of swords, it's like the 4 of swords is that rest moment, and the 4 of cups is like that missed opportunity. And it's this like, if you're stagnating or if you're not moving when you should be, there are times to rest. But if you rest too long, then like you miss out on the things that could have been for you had you continued to grow into them. And it takes me back to what I was saying with the 6 of Pentacles, where there was a thing who was working and they were only concerned with making themselves as good as they could possibly be. And so they refused any challenges because they knew that evaluations were coming up, and they got their wish. They were noticed. But the person, instead of just getting like a 5 cent raise or a 25 cent raise or a 50 cent raise, dollar raise, whatever, was actually looking to promote them. But what they noticed was that that person didn't actually, like, that person never challenged themselves. That person never dared to be anything bigger or better. They just wanted to project the image of themselves being better. And when you get promoted up, it's like, we need someone who can handle challenge and difficulties. And, like what you didn't know was that some of those assignments I personally had like put or like I had those assignments and those challenges and those difficulties come across your desk. And then I noticed that you put them off on someone else. So, like, unfortunately, I don't have a basis to gauge whether or not you can perform this role and this duty because you forfeited every single challenge I gave you. But, like, if you want it to look really good, congratulations, you look amazing for the things that you can do. So I think you are perfect where you are instead of going any higher. And again, that's what gets us to play small. Like, we're cutting out the bushes. We should be able to see the ram now. The ram in the bush is not even like, it's like hiding in plain sight at this moment. But if you've done those things, and for this energy, like, I honestly feel, I'm not going to say I feel like you have. If you have, you have. If you haven't, you haven't. It doesn't matter what I feel. So I hope you have, and I hope you can see this, and I hope you take it. And congratulations. If not, I hope you take this as an opportunity to get some initiative or to take initiative and to do those things because it's possible. So that's what I got for you, pile three. I hope you have a good whatever whenever you see this. If you're not having a good one, I hope you have a better one soon, or rather than later. And I hope you're acting in alignment to make that which you wish to experience your reality because it's possible. It may require you to do some things, but it's possible. So I'll catch y'all later and have a good one. Bye.